Good morning, Grace Tribe. You guys let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Give me a 5 by 5 or a thumbs up or whatever. Good morning to you guys. I love seeing all the folks from the Facebook side jump on as we get started. Really, I've been chatting away with the folks on the YouTube side and seeing all of the comments. And then as soon as we go live, I see that we've got 3 or 4 dozen people on Facebook waiting in the wings. Just truly, it makes my morning. So I'm thrilled to get to see you guys. Wonderful. Good morning. Michael Elliott is giving us the muscle sign. I guess that means we're strong, and the thumbs up sign. Good morning, Miriam. Great to see you. When we go live, I have my device here, and I have to do a whole sequence of events. I turn off my camera, and then I start the music, and then I start the video, and then I go back and turn on my camera so that it shows up when the video comes on, and then I have to shut off the music so that when the video stops running, I can then be talking. And anyway, it's I put up a couple of banners in between doing all that. So I'm always a little concerned when we do go live that I've missed something. My camera is off or my speakers are on. You're getting feedback. So anyway, always let me know that we are running good now that we are live. It's always exciting, but I'm always flying, and then it's like, okay, I think we're good. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. And about 90% of the time, we are golden. We get it working just fine. But sometimes I leave the music running in the background or fail to get a banner, up or off or whatever. So anyway, yeah, it's all good. I love doing this live, but it's like, okay, what did I forget? I'm not sure what I'm doing to you guys. So I'm glad you're here. Listen. Today, when we're shooting this live, is the day after Valentine's Day. It's February 15th when we're actually going live. I don't know when people are watching this later, but anyway, feeling rested for the first time in a while. Good, Kat, I'm glad. That's awesome. Donna, good morning. Carol, good morning. Yeah, God does have this. It's not that stressful. I just always think, I wonder if I got everything off. I don't know. I wonder if I can be heard. Is my microphone on? It's not stressful like that, but I do want to know, like if you're hearing something in the background, I certainly want to know. Or the lights are not on. So I've done that before. I've gotten started and didn't have the lights on. Listen, yesterday being Valentine's Day, I have a reason for asking, did you get something, give something, or do something for anyone, with anyone on Valentine's Day? Did you do something, give something, or get something on Valentine's Day with anyone? Anybody? Good morning, Marlo. Great to see you. How exciting. Yes, you did, Miriam. What did you do, give, or get? Put in the comments what you, I'm going to reach for a card here, what you gave, what you got, or what you did that you can put on a public forum. Sarah made care packages. What a wonderful thing to do. We didn't even think about that. We should have sent some of our nephews and nieces some care packages. I did not do that. Spent time with Galantines, Donna says. That's awesome. Tabitha, husband came home with roses. Oh, wonderful. That's exciting. Roses for your wife, John says. That's wonderful. Boy, the comments are going so fast. Good morning, Dana Hodges. Great to see you. Diana, my honey had the day off and we had a wonderful day together. That's wonderful. Don't feel bad if you didn't. It's a little bit of a Hallmark holiday. So I realize a lot of people just don't do much for Valentine's Day. It's not sort of a traditional, it's not Christmas, right? It's not your birthday. I understand. And I see some longer comments that don't fit on my monitor, but some prayer requests, it looks like. So let's be sure to look at those and be praying for people throughout the day. I always go back over our comments for prayer requests when the broadcast is over. And then I actually do it the next day. So today I will go and look at yesterday's comments again for people that watched yesterday's broadcast later in the day, because people leave prayer requests. And so just know that I always try to catch those. God is my Valentine, Carol says. Yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that. Don't ever feel bad about, what happens or doesn't happen on Valentine's Day. Sounds like Las Vegas. Stacey got me this card, which I thought was so perfect. It's two coffee cups, two lattes, I guess, and it says, I love us. I thought, that's perfect. Her card was so good. See, I don't think there's anything in here I can share. Just, how much she likes doing life together. Now, this card probably cost $4 or something, $3 or $4 at the store, but it is priceless to me. Isn't that interesting? I want you to just think about that for a minute. We're going to talk about value. What gives something value? Why are some things cherished in life? And this little $4 mass-produced card, I don't know how many were made, but I'm sure it was in the tens of thousands, is priceless to me. And it costs $4. There are thousands of them floating around. It's not like it's a unique hand-created thing, right? Picasso did not come to our house and draw this on, on our napkin. This was given value not by the card that was made at the factory. It was given value because of something else. What makes this $4 mass-produced card, even as cute as it is, I mean, I like it a lot. But why is this priceless to me? It's a thought, Carol says, always priceless because it came from my wife, from her heart. So the source of it gives it value, right? That it came from Stacey, that it came from, who made Hallmark. It's actually a Hallmark card. There you go. That it came from Hallmark gives it almost no value at all. I don't look at this and go, oh, it's a Hallmark card. I don't do that. But I go, oh, it's from my wife, my bride, my Valentine, right? The words that are in it give it value, right? What she said to me is much more valuable because she wrote some words in it. You don't get to see what those are, but she wrote some words in it. And those are much more valuable than the mass-produced Valentine card words. She says my full name on stuff. So to her, I'm Mike Daniel. She calls me Mike Daniel, which I think is fantastic. I often call her by her middle name. I call her Marie. She calls me Mike Daniel. No one else calls her Marie. No one else, well, maybe a couple of friends that picked it up from her, call me Mike Daniel. Hi, Mike Daniel. Calls me up. Hello, Mike Daniel. You're my Valentine, Mike Daniel. Only she does that. And I call her Marie. It's her middle name. No one else does that. So there's some uniqueness that give it. So the source, some uniqueness, the what she shared, so what is of her and not mass produced gives it value. The timing of it gave it value, right? So she might give me a card every Valentine's Day for our entire relationship. So we're into decades now. We're counting the years by decades of how many cards we've gotten for decades. So that gives it value. Over 2 decades, I have of Valentine cards, but this is unique, right? So it's the one from this year, 2021. What's going on at the time could give it value. The relationship between me and the source. So honestly, if a celebrity came by and dropped off some cards, I don't know who you think of as a celebrity, but if a politician or a celebrity came by, it might get maybe a sports star, right? Came by and David Robinson, one of my favorite all-time basketball players, came by, or Michael Jordan came by, signed a card and gave it to us. It would have value because of the source, and it would have value because it's a little unique. I mean, maybe he's doing that for 1,000 people, signing some cards, signing basketballs, whatever. That might give it some value because it's unique and because of the source. But the relationship, Donna says, I don't have a relationship, much of one, with David Robinson, and I don't have a relationship at all with, who else did I say? Michael Jordan or really any politician. And so, or not many. And so that I have a relationship with Stacey gives this card value. I will cherish this card and have the intention, at least, to keep it forever. Right? There could be a fire. I could misplace it. Something could happen. But my intention is to keep it forever. It is that important to me. But I'm not running to the store and buying up all of their supply of these cards, because it's not the card. It's the source. It's the sentiment. It's the relationship. It's the circumstance, right? The uniqueness of this particular circumstance. Now, here's the deal. If you send me a Valentine card, I will thank you profusely, and I will gather all of those up, and I will get rid of them probably at the end of the year, something like that. Put them all in a box. All of my birthday cards, all of my Christmas stuff, they'll probably get tossed unless they say something especially valuable or they're from someone that I'm in a relationship with. Now, the reason that I say all of this is we're talking today about divine love. This is part number 2 in our secrets to a divinely empowered love. Is that what we're calling it? And number 2 is cherished, that it's cherished. Secrets to divinely empowered love. Number 1 is that it's lavished. One of the secrets to living out of a divinely empowered love is that God has lavished. We talk about how God's lavished. He's overflowing to us so we can afford to be sacrificial and overflowing toward one another. That it's never equitable is kind of the bottom line. That a divinely empowered love is that we give up equitability and instead embrace that we get to be lavish and can afford to be lavish out of the love that God has lavished upon us. So today is about value. It's about what's cherished. A divinely empowered love is uniquely cherished. So we've been talking about what makes something valuable, and we're going to continue to do that. But I'm going to tell you a little story. I want to talk to you about 2 very different broken glasses. 2 very different broken glasses. So a while ago, I went to, this was, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I went to the eye doctor and got an eye checkup. I have a really bad stigmatism. So my biggest problem is with light diffusion, and got a new prescription, and I usually buy the cheapest glasses. I just buy cheap. You have to replace them every few years because your eyes change. I've now gone to bifocals, so they're more expensive anyway. I've got the readers on the bottom and the vision correction on the top, and they both fix my stigmatism, and so they just have gotten expensive. I try to get the anti-glare thing, but the cheapest frames. I don't get the fancy designer frames, but I get some anti-glare on them because I'm on stages and cameras some, and so anyway, there's some things that make them more expensive, so I buy the cheapest ones I can. Hello, nonprofit world. I lead a nonprofit, so. I'm a missionary, I don't have a lot of extra cash. So anyway, this one time I thought, I want to see if the higher end glasses make a difference. I've spent my whole life buying cheap glasses. I'm going to splurge a little and get the nicer lenses that come from a nicer set of glasses. And so I went to an actual glasses place instead of one of the little mall boxes that are relatively cheap, or the mass-produced stores. Anyway, they gave me high-end lenses and gave me a good deal on a decent frame. It's not some fancy designer frame, but the lenses were high-end lenses. And it was like seeing in Technicolor. I never knew it made such of a difference. It was great. And so, but they were expensive. They gave it value because it's cost a lot, and they had some technology in. And so about, 4 months ago, when these broke, I haven't gone back to the eye doctor because my prescription's been okay. I don't see that it's changing a lot. And honestly, I don't want to give up the lenses, and I don't want to pay a lot for glasses. I don't want to pay extra again. And I don't want to downgrade to the cheap lenses and go back, lose the Technicolor that these lenses have provided. So I've just delayed going back to the eye doctor. But one of these eyepieces broke. And so I went to a jeweler and had them weld it back on because because these have value. I can't just go and replace these for $10 or even a couple $100. And so I went to some effort to find someone who could fix it, and went to some expense to fix it, because their utility and their expense, utility and expense, they're useful to me, and they're more expensive than I can just pay all the time. So these broken glasses, I went to considerable effort to fix because they're uniquely valuable to me. Now, more of them exist. They're not that unique, but they're not priceless, right? They weren't worn by Benjamin Franklin. They're just expensive and hard to replace for me. So they're worth something to me. They're worth the effort to get them fixed. Now, on the other hand, Stasa bought me some drinking glasses a few years ago, a set of 4, and it turns out they're just really fragile. And I love them, but they were a gift. They were like a birthday gift for me several years ago. And over the years, we've chipped one here and broken one there, and we're down to 2. We only have 2. In fact, the 2 that we have, one of those is chipped, but we want a set. So they're valuable. They're expensive because they were nice. I mean, for us, for glasses. So they're a little expensive, and they're from her. So when these broke, I went, oh no, I've got to get those fixed. I have to have glasses. When the glasses that Stasa gave me broke, it broke my heart. It's like, oh, I'm not going to replace that. I'm never going to go and spend a lot of money to buy a glass that is especially valuable because it was a gift. It's no longer a gift if I replace it. So when these glasses are gone, we may need more glasses, but we're probably not replacing them. So do you see what gives it value is her? And they're too delicate and too expensive for us to keep or for us to replace. But they're so valuable. What breaks my heart is that the gift she gave me is turning out to be more temporary than I thought. So here's the deal. The fact that it's fleeting. There's a limited time I'm going to have with this gift. This gift is going to go away. My daughter growing up, I increasingly realized how fleeting my time with her at home was. And that gave that time more and more value. When they're 3, you don't think about how fleeting the time is. When they're 18 and packing for college, you kind of hit the panic button. And now she lives in another town and has a job and has her own life, and that time is precious, and the time that we had is precious because it was fleeting. So I say all of this because there are different things that give something value. Utility, I put this on the screen for you because let's talk about our relationships now. Utility has value, but it's not as right. The utility of my glasses has value, but my heart doesn't break when they get a little wobbly. The glasses that Stasa gave me, they have some utility. You can drink with them, but that's not what gives them value. What gives them value is that they're a precious gift that are really more expensive than I'll ever replace anyway. So utility has value, but not as much as preciousness, right? Something that has heart value, has sentimental value, has something that makes it special because of its source. I couldn't tell you the name of the guy that made these glasses or that, made them for me from the frames that someone else made I never met. I don't know. I don't care. But what gives the glasses that Stasa gave me value is that Stasa gave them to me. 1 Peter chapter 3, Peter writes to the church, and he's concerned about our relationships. He's concerned about our relationships. So he's walking through lots of different relationships. And when he's talking to husbands about wives, he says this, and people misinterpret this all the time. It's why I'm bringing it up today. He says, husbands, in the same way as Christ has loved us, in the same way, be considerate, meaning be deliberate as you live with your wives and treat them with respect as the weaker partner. And I think people misunderstand this all the time. treat them with respect, consider them, be deliberate in your value of them as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life. When my eyeglasses break, they were expensive and I don't want to replace them, and they're critical to my daily living, but they're not precious. When the glasses Stacy gave me broke, they're fragile, they're beautiful, they're given to me by someone that I love, and they're fleeting. Now that I'm down to 2 of them, we don't pull them out very often, and we handle them. I use them very carefully. I'm careful how I set them down, when I fill them up, when I use them. We don't use them all the time. They're precious to us. They're not weak in the sense that they can barely hold water. That's not what Peter's saying. He's not saying that your spouse can't do anything, husbands. He's saying she's precious, guys. She's delicate. She's special. I say this all, if you've ever been to one of my marriage conferences, I say, guys, we're like canteens. We have great utility. And ladies, you are our teacups. What gives the teacup value is not how much tea it can hold. It's not utility. It's that it's precious. It's delicate. It's handmade by God for us to treasure. And that she is your gift from God as a work of art, delicate, precious, vulnerable, treasurable. That's what gives you value to us. My wife doesn't have value because of how much she can get done in a day. She can get a whole lot more done in a day than I can. She gets more done before I get up at 5:15 in the morning than I will all day long. Her utility is really high, but I don't cherish her because of her utility. She is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. She is fantastically beautiful, perfectly made for me. But honestly, that's not what gives her value to me. So as beautiful as she is, a piece of art for me, uniquely designed, makes my heart soar just to see her. Gotta tell you, she's fantastic for me. But what really makes my heart soar when I see her is all that I know of her. And I cherish my wife not because of her hair color or hairstyle or makeup or whatever, her figure. Those things I appreciate. No question. She's a work of art God has made specifically for me. There's only one of her, and she's mine. So absolutely the work of art and uniqueness gives her great value. But really what I value is that it's her. It's the unique relationship that I have with her. It's the sentimental, cherishable value of our history together. Like the glasses that she gave me, what gives them value is that she gave them to me. It's something that I've shared with her. We have a lot of memories now over the years using those glasses. So I dread the thought that it's temporary increasingly because those glasses seem to be passing away. In the same way, my wife is delicate like a flower or a china cup, and she is fragile and she's tough as nails and has lots of utility. But what gives her value to me is her preciousness to me. Her beauty is not just extrinsic, how beautiful she is, like a piece of art on the wall, or how well made a teacup is. That is valuable. That's powerful. But like the glasses that she gave me, they're beautiful. But that's not what really gives them value. It's that I have enjoyed them so much and how I have enjoyed them and that they've been part of our relationship. That's what gives them uniqueness. My time with my bride and her unique gift from God to me and her value to me in our connectedness. I am not me anymore without her. We have one life that we have built together for decades, and I operate in my life out of what she and I have made of that life together is cherishable. Husbands, love your wives as not just not because they're weak, but as this delicate, cherishable, beautiful, artistic gift of God, piece of art, masterpiece of him wanting something very specific and of great value for you. Men, you are a teacup, and your value in part is that you can take a bullet for your wife. You can push through and make something happen, right? You will stay up all night to put together the bike for the kids. You can be the tough thing. You can withstand something for the sake of your family that gives you unique value to your family, because no one else in your family can have that utility. You have unique utility and provision. You can carry the water in the canteen, and probably a lot of water, and withstand a lot to be able to make sure there is water, right? You're the canteen. You're the big old heavy duty thermos. You're the chunky mug of the family. And your wife is the teacup of greater value to you than your own utility. Men, we are the canteens, and we should be the canteens, because our wives are the teacups, and they should be the teacups. And that takes nothing away from the utility of our wives. That's just not the same cause of value to us. If you, gentlemen, don't love something artistic, this may be a little bit of a challenge for you. But when you turn on music that makes you tap your foot, it's not because of the music theory. It's because the way someone employed that artistry skips the brain barrier and speaks to your soul. What God wants to do through our spouses is, through the artistry of the master artist himself, wants to speak uniquely to your soul. He doesn't want you to think about, well, here's all the reasons my wife is a good wife. He wants you to cherish her in your heart as his unique gift, as a work of art, as a masterpiece designed. It's like a commission. So on my wall is a piece of art that a friend made for me many years ago. And what gives it value in part is that it's from him and that he made it with me in mind. And it's called The Cost of Grace, because I taught that to them, and they turned around and created a piece of art that they called The Cost of Grace, something they learned from me that they then shared back with me in their unique gifting. And it has value to me because of all of that, in the uniqueness of that relationship. And it's a pretty good piece of art. But the how good the artistry is doesn't begin to touch its value to me, because it came out of teaching I gave, inspiring their giftedness that they gave back to me. That's a unique thing. So I will probably not be getting rid of that work of art or selling it for a lot of money, even if it were worth a lot of money, because it's unique to that moment in time in that relationship, that artist. So I appreciate that he was inspired, and I appreciate what he made, and I appreciate his artistry, but it was the uniqueness of that circumstance that really gives it value. Does that make sense? And the time that he put into it gave it some value, but he puts time into a lot of things. Your spouse is the only one of him or her you will ever have. The only one of him. The only one of her. Even if you've been married before, even if you have unique relationships with other people. Stacey has a unique relationship with every single one of her family members. I have a unique relationship with every one of my family members. So I'm not saying they're the only person that you have relationships with, or the only person that you have a unique relationship with, but they are the only person you will have that relationship with. And it is fleeting, and it is delicate, and it has unique value, and it is made like a commission specifically from the master's artistry for you. And that gives it great value. Weaker in Peter's passage is delicate. Treat her as something precious, irreplaceable, costly. Treat her as your teacup. Sometimes, I guess I shouldn't mind admitting this, Stacey has to remind me that she's my teacup. Isn't that sad? Breaks my heart when I might be gruff, or I might tease her about something, or I'm really busy. Sometimes Stacey has come to me and said, "Don't forget, I'm your teacup, Mike Daniel." Breaks my heart, like those glasses getting chipped. Don't break, don't crack. Sometimes, over time, we are dented canteens, dented thermoses, and cracked teacups. But sometimes that gives value too. I know what she and I have been through, and I know how good we are now, having been through that. And sometimes that little chip in that antique that you found in that little place one time gives it a little character. Because of this talking about teacups and canteens that I do in marriage conferences, years ago, Stacey started seeing little unique teacups and saucer sets. And so we've got she has a very eclectic set of teacups and saucers. So she has, a couple that look like this and a couple that look like that. But so for her, I think it was for her birthday, might have been for Christmas, there was a little pink and gold rimmed cup and saucer set. And a couple of them have broken, a couple of them are, but there's only a couple of them. And of those, we know the differences between them because this one has this chip and that one has that scratch, and we know how those happened. This got a little chip here and that got a little scratch there. So each of those cups have a history, and we love that. It's unique. The glasses that she gave me, one of them has a little chip in the base and one of them doesn't. And the one with the chip in the base is mine when we use those glasses. And the one that doesn't is hers. We know the difference. We know the history. So you may feel like you've had some life in your relationship that has caused a few chips, a few cracks, a few dents. But don't think for a minute that doesn't add to the value and history of your relationship. You don't have to stay pristine for the things that really give you value to persist. Don't let what you've been through define you. Let it add value to what you have maintained in your relationship. I am sorry to say there are a couple of chips in the teacup that is my wife, that where I have caused a little hurt, where I have had a little neglect, and there's been a little chip. But that actually gives a value to the relationship that has persisted. Look what we have been through and how valuable. Just like, so my dad came over to my house for the Super Bowl, and my dad he's 80. He, in the last year and a half or so, he's had several strokes, and he has some heart problems. And he and I, when I was younger, would go and play tennis together and play basketball together and wrestle around together when I was a kid. And he's not doing that now. He doesn't have that value, but he has even more value. Why? He might be a little dinged up by life, but all of those things are still true of our history. And what we have been through gives us greater value than what we can do now. And so I cherish our sitting and watching the game together this weekend more than whether or not we could arm wrestle, and break his arm. Well, we're not going to do that. That's not what gives him value. That history gives us value, but the fact that there's a few dents in the canteen doesn't take away the value of what we have in our history together. In the same way, what Stacey and I have gone through can add to the value of what we have now because of what we've gone through. I don't mind there being a couple little chips. I totally mind that I might hurt her today. Do you see the difference? Let me talk to you about God's Valentine for you this week. God has written a Valentine, a gift. They started exchanging Valentines because of a poem, in essence, that Chaucer wrote long ago. You won't get into the details, but centuries ago, Chaucer wrote or a couple hundred years ago, Chaucer wrote a poem about Saint Valentine and called someone his Valentine, my Valentine, in the poem. And it became vogue then because he was a well-known writer. And it became vogue for people to start calling each other my Valentine, and they would give someone a card and say, you are my Valentine. And they would identify each other by giving a note to each other, calling each other my Valentine, my dear Valentine, because it was someone's name. They're addressing Valentine as Valentine. It'd be like Stacey calling me Mike Daniel. You're my Mike Daniel. Well, he was calling Valentine, Valentine. But it became, because he used the phrase, my Valentine, like she would say, my Mike Daniel, or my dear child, or my whatever. He said, my Valentine, and then it became a thing that they would say, my Valentine. God would say to you, I have given you my son. I have given you his life. I've placed his life in those that you, who are believers, that you're in relationship with, and I have given you to each other. My Valentine to you, if you will, is my love written on the heart of those I've uniquely made, the artistry of someone else's life given to you, a one-of-a-kind commission of my love, masterfully made in the person that you're in relationship with, that I then give to you as my expression of love to you through them, and you and I get to be the conveyance of God's love to each other and his cherishing of one another, that she would be his love expressed uniquely to me, his gift saying, I love you, here's your bride. Uniquely love you by giving her to you with my life in her, and the life in her cost him his life. Do you see the value of that? It's not a mass-produced card. It is a person giving his life to express his love through the love of your life to you. It is so precious. A little chip here and a little dent there does not, in the very least, diminish the unique and powerful expression of love that cost Christ his life to love you in the gift of your spouse. What is delicate is cherished. They're unique and delicate and of great value. What is irreplaceable or rare is cherished. What is costly cost Christ his very life to give you the relationship of his life through you and his life through your spouse or through your family or through your friends to one another. It was very costly and very rare. And then what you esteem has great value. If you invest in your marriage, if you invest in your children, if you invest in your relationship, if you invest in your spouse, it actually gives them value. One of the biggest problems in marriages today is that people aren't invested in one another, and it makes it easier to give up that which they're no longer invested in. Invest. Give of yourself, and then you won't want to give up what you've given of yourself in one another. It elevates your relationship because you have been sacrificially invested in that person. That gives them value in your own heart. You are cherishable to God. Those you love are cherishable to you. He has invested his very life in you. You are irreplaceable to him in a way that he knows. You are his artistry. You are his unique commission to somebody else. You are his the conveyance of his love uniquely expressed, that he cannot make himself known to anyone the way he can through you, because he's making himself known uniquely to you. You are unique and precious and delicate, and he does not take you for granted. I love what Paul said to the Philippians as we close out today. He said, do nothing out of selfish neediness, right? Ambition. Don't operate within those in the body of Christ, much less in your marriages and relationships and those you love and those God has given to you in your life. Don't live out of selfish neediness and ambition and vain conceit, what I need, what I deserve, what I ought to have, right? We talked about equitability yesterday. Don't do that. Rather, out of humility, recognizing you are not the source, you are not the cause, you are not the one that's meriting anything. Value the gift of others above yourselves. Teacups and canteens, my friends, value the unique gift. I might be a coffee mug more than a canteen, right? Might have a few chips, but I'm more utilitarian maybe than precious art. She's more precious art maybe even than utilitarian. Here's a question of the day for you guys. How might God use you today to show his incredible, precious value, both of you and of them, to others today? How might God use you to show his incredible value of you, his value and love for you, and his value and love of others? How might he use you to be the conveyance of that artistry, that love, that preciousness? How cherishable his life is in you and them today. Love you guys. Let's know him more. Let's grow in grace. Let's go love like crazy by elevating the value that God has already given us and them to the praise of the glory of his grace. Talk to you again tomorrow.